Episode 5, What I Actually Wanted. By day 5, I'd stopped looking for the block, not because I'd found it, but because I had stopped believing it actually existed, and that created space for something I was not expecting. When you are not busy looking for what is wrong, you start to notice what is actually there. And what was there on day 5 surprised me. I woke up and the first conscious thought in my head was, what beautiful thing might happen today? Not what do I need to fix, not what's the plan, not what am I missing. What beautiful thing might happen today? And I sat with that for a moment because I realised I had not noticed when that had changed. It had just quietly, without announcement, become different. The question I woke up with had shifted completely. And then I said something out loud that I had said before but had never kind of felt until that morning. I'm on the right path. Not as something I was telling myself to believe, not from my head, but from every cell in my body, my bones, my toes, and that is a completely different thing. On day 5, the conversation went somewhere new, and I was asked to describe what I actually wanted. Not the outcomes, not the numbers, not the goals. Who is the woman when all of this is done? What does she feel like? And what came out of me surprised me, because I did not talk about things. I talked about states. I want calm to be my default, not something I have to remember, just who I am. Even when life is messy, even when things are hard, I want freedom, not as a concept, but as a feeling in my body, and space to breathe. Shoulders are relaxed, an easiness to every day. I want everything I do to come from gratitude and joy and love, not because I'm performing those things, but because they are just unconsciously how I move through life. And the reflection that came back landed quietly, that I wasn't chasing possessions, I was chasing a feeling. And people who become deeply rooted in a way of being make very different decisions about life from people who are only chasing outcomes. And then something else arrived that week that I want to tell you about. I had a conversation with a lady called Ishi, and she signed me up for a course. We'd only spoken twice. And as we were talking, she stopped and said to me, you know what? I've spoken to an awful lot of people today, but I am so excited for you. I can see it. I know all is coming for you. And I cried, not because she was telling me what I wanted to hear, but because it was recognition. I felt it. She was reflecting back something I was already beginning to know myself. And there is a difference between validation and recognition. Validation is looking outward for certainty. Recognition is hearing someone else say out loud what you have quietly been sensing all along. 3 weeks earlier, I would have been deeply suspicious of it. Now it landed as truth because I had changed. Not the words, me. And then something else arrived that morning, a realisation so simple I could not believe I had not seen it before. I'd spent a long time asking for more money to be coming in, a miracle, something that would fix everything in one go. And that morning I finally understood why it had never felt quite right. Because that was not actually what I wanted. What I wanted was to feel consistently supported, not rescued, not saved, not a one-off miracle and then back to worrying, but consistent flow. Money coming in steadily from expected and unexpected places, allowing me to handle things one by one as they needed handling. And I realised I'd been asking for the wrong thing the whole time. Not wrong in a failing way, but wrong because I had not yet understood what I was actually trying to feel. I wanted to feel supported. And the moment I named it, I could feel it was already there. And then something else happened. It was an eventful week. I discovered something about trust that I had been circling around for years without being able to name it. I had kept saying trust in the universe, trust in the process, and could never quite pin down what I meant. And then one morning it arrived. Trust myself. Not the small self, not the anxious self, not the self that scans for what is wrong. That deeper part of me that has been quietly whispering underneath all the noise. I am the universe. I am the source. It flows through me. I am part of the consciousness that flows through all of us. So we are all that. And I finally understood what trust actually meant. I trust myself to meet whatever arrives. Not that everything will be perfect, not that there will never be challenges, not that the universe will do all the work, just this. I trust me. And when you trust yourself, the future stops looking so frightening because no matter what arrives, you arrive too. I remember reading something that week about the heart's electromagnetic field, and that if you were a pea in the middle of Wembley Stadium, the energy from your heart would reach the outer edges. And I felt that. I could feel my energy spreading outward, not from effort, but from settling, from finally stopping that internal argument within myself. And I thought about what my clients always say. I hold such beautiful space. They feel so safe. The way you were with me. Every testimonial, every single one. That is not a technique. That is a state. And people feel it when someone is genuinely settled. When someone is not performing or convincing or trying, when someone simply is. And I had been becoming more of that all week without forcing it, just by getting quieter. And here is the thing that landed most deeply on day 5. I do not create transformation by taking people somewhere they have never been. I create transformation by helping them remember what home feels like inside themselves. And that is my work. Not teaching, not fixing, not convincing. Helping people come home to themselves. And I had been doing it all along. Every client, every session, every hand held for a moment longer than expected. I just had not known what to call it. This is not my story. I think it might be yours too. The next episode is called I Stopped Waiting for Permission to Trust Myself. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you on the next one.